And now is the time to move towards our next resource person, and he is none other than Dr. Ramanujam Meghanathan, sir, uh, Professor, Department of English Language Education, National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCRT, Sri Arvindo Marg, New Delhi, India. Ramanujan Meghnathan, sir, a professor of English in the Department of Education and Languages, National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCRT, New Delhi. Is interested in language and learning, teacher professional development, English language education, curriculum and material development. He was one of the members of the curriculum group of NCRT, which coordinated the nationwide exercise of developing the National Curriculum Framework 2005, and also an author, coordinator of the textbooks in English for class 10th, and one of the authors of the textbook in English for uh, class 6, developed as a follow-up to NCF 2005. He has been involved in the textbook and the teacher training material development in the states of Haryana, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, and many more states. He holds a doctorate in ELT, Masters and MPhil in English Literature, and MEd along with PG Diploma in Teaching of English from CIEFL, and also PG Diploma in Guidance and Counseling. Uh, he has published a number of papers in English language teaching, language policy, language curriculum, and developed audio video programs for learning teaching of English. His area of interest includes his skills and expertise are pedagogy and education, academic writing, teaching pedagogy, critical thinking and social pedagogy, discourse analysis, and many more. He is a language pedagogue, teacher trainer, material developer, curriculum expert in second language teaching learning. So, with these words, I would like to call upon stage Dr. Ramanujan Meghnathan, sir. Over to you, sir. So, may I request Professor Ramanujan Meghnathan, sir, to please be on the screen. And the topic he's dealing with is uh, knowledge, identity, and learner in NEP 2020.
So you are requested to unmute yourself.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Can
are
you hear me
audible.
now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon,
You are audible.
everybody. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me, and let me thank Dr. This one, Rezil Silster, then Dr. Mahato, and the previous speakers, Professor Amir Bhatia and Dr. Karishma Mehta, and also thank Mr. Ravindra Kumar, Dr. Ravindra Kumar for your nice introduction. I don't know from where you got it. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, namaskar, everyone. So, I have deliberately chosen this the knowledge, learner, and identity and the learner, two aspects of uh, school education or higher education per se. I have attempted to delve into in this presentation. Uh, the idea behind choosing these two is, at the end of the day, school education has to imbibe or impart knowledge in the traditional sense, and in the modern sense, in the current sense of enable them learn, work with ideas, concepts, language, learn, then move on to while learning, they find themselves happy with an identity of what they are when they learn and what they would be when they finish learning, complete schooling. This was the idea. So I have permit me throw some light on initially some philosophical aspect of what knowledge is briefly. Then we will move on to what is there in NEP 2020, followed by reflection on how knowledge is perceived, assumed by NEP 2020, National Education Policy, and how a learner finds his due place in the policy. Then we will have some more discussion on things. So let me begin with just with some slides. So I have to upload this. Is it? No, not this one. Not this one. Then this PowerPoint. Isn't it? It's not working. The screen, no? Go to screen, not window. Give me a minute. Can you see the slide on the screen, sir? Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. So I have chosen to address the knowledge, identity, and the learner. Am I audible clear? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And the slide is also seen?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right. Because I have extensively taken from the NEP text and also my interpretation. Okay, look at it. There are three aspects in this discussion: knowledge, identity, and of course, knowledge for the learner, identity of the learner. So let me raise some questions for the discussion. How does National Education Policy 2020 assume knowledge in education? In other words, what is knowledge in school and higher education? I concentrate more on school education, of course a bit on higher education. Then the second question I would like to attempt to answer is, who is the learner in the National Education Policy 2020? And is the learner a receiver of knowledge, constructor of knowledge, or transmitter of knowledge? How does NEP 2020 assumes, and what is his or her identity? Yes, we can again. Just give me a minute. Sorry for that. I'm not taking this one. Techie, sorry, I'm technology migrant. So let's look at it. What is knowledge? Knowing and its dimensions. There are three senses of knowledge, means knowing. Then one is prepositional knowledge, another is acquaintance knowledge, third is how to knowledge. We all know that we must have studied, and you, all of you, either being taught or you may have been teaching. For example, let's take what is propositional knowledge. Propositional knowledge is based on facts and truth. For example, water is colorless. The sky is blue. That sky is blue, and sea is also blue to some extent. So these are all propositions. We assume, we believe in a proposition. So that's one. Then acquaintance knowledge. We get acquainted with something. For example, let me make a statement. I know the Prime Minister of India, because I personally acquaint with him, or I know about him. This is second knowledge. One is based on truth or belief, another is by acquainting. Third is how to. For example, I play cricket, means I know how to play. These are three dimensions of, three senses of knowledge. Now look at it. Then dimensions of knowledge. Knowledge requires epistemically justified truth. There must be some evidence-based truth. What is that? Evidence based on data. Once something is proved with the evidence and data, it is true. We assume so. So knowledge is truth or search for truth. Then I said it is justified, epistemically justified truth. I'm not saying empirically, epistemically. That means there is an evidence-based data. So a belief can, for example, become truth if it is proved with data. There are lot of examples we can give. Let's take an example of drinking the juice of a particular herb cures COVID-19. Then look at vaccine will prevent COVID-19 because it is a virus. There is a mistake there. This one got changed in between. That's what my assistant did not do the job very well. So that's one. So look at it. First statement has to be proved. If it's not proved, then how it could be accepted that you nowadays in India lot of herbs are given, juices are given, putting lot of herbs, leaves. Then this is this is not justified epistemifically. So that's why even Ayush Ministry is hesitant to accept it. But let's make the next statement. It is prediction. Suppose vaccine is found, invented, made, then if it proves, then it is knowledge. That means the particular component of this components of all these put together as a vaccine really works. This is what we find it. We find it epistemically proven truth. Look at it. So next, look at I stop it there for talking about knowledge. Let's talk about what does NEP 2020 offers about knowledge. It makes a case for education is fundamental for achieving human potential. Okay, let's take up human potential. Then developing an equitable just society. They are all outcomes of knowledge acquisition or education per se, promoting national integration. And what are the current sense the NEP takes is rapid changes in knowledge landscape, then which requires multidisciplinary abilities and multidisciplinary learning. There are three aspects. Your knowledge landscape itself is
So your voice is not audible.
now? Can you hear me
Uh,
now?
yes, sir, it is. I think there are
Okay,
some network issues.
I'll keep it.
I think there are some network issues. Kindly bear. We will just wait. We will just wait for 5 minutes, Dr. Vivekananda Rao. I think we should give a fair opportunity to everybody, and these things are not in our control. I hope all of us understand this very well, being from the teacher community.
I joined. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Perfectly clear. Welcome.
There's some problem with my internet connection. So,
Yeah.
ancient and eternal Indian knowledge. Look at it. Not only ancient, it is eternal. Eternal in the past sense and the future sense. Then India has aim of education in ancient India was not just acquisition of knowledge and preparation of knowledge. So this policy accepts that the knowledge we gain is the preparation for life. Then look at how it's happening. Recognizing, identifying, fostering unique capabilities on the learner, each student by sensitizing teachers as well as parents to promote holistic development in academic and non-academic spheres. Okay, this is a process. Then look at how it perceives knowledge, assumes knowledge. No hard separation between art and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams. Look at it. The knowledge will be holistic, unified, in a way common thing to be learned by learners in a holistic curriculum. It will be very difficult to make such a curriculum. That's why from classes 9 to 12, it proposes to offer more than 40-50 options. So, this multidisciplinarity comes into being, and a holistic education across sciences, social sciences, and unity and integrity of all knowledge. So it's against fragmentation of knowledge. Then emphasis on all learners will be enabled to learn, have conceptual understanding, creativity, and critical thinking. So look at it, understanding to critical thinking. Now look at it. Then ethics and human constitutional values like empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit of service, respect for public property, many things are coming, pluralism. So it stands for not only being knowledge for ethical life, humane life, their understanding human values, then also the overarching principles of Indian Constitution. So then look at it very interestingly. Life skills, it was to promote life skills, and from knowledge to skills. We will have a discussion on that. Life skill, communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience, which is much needed during the current times. How I can cope with the difficult times. How can the young people can be resilient to the problems. Okay, so far we have seen knowledge dimensions. Then all of a sudden it brings in life skills. Then look at it. We said integration of subjects and skills and capacities. Look, first we said knowledge, skills. Then now you have to integrate subjects. That means content, knowledge, skills and capacities, that is competencies, what one can do and one is capable of doing, and these three dimensions have to be integrated. Then again skills come, citizenship skills and values. Citizenship skills and values. How, look at it, this goes with the constitutional values, because Indian Constitution wants good to develop everyone to be a good citizenry. So then one addition, eternal Indian knowledge, and now knowledge of India will be added to the whatever knowledge we study in school and university as a distinct part from ancient to modern to future aspirations of India. Then Indian knowledge system, it also makes a case mentions for Sanskrit knowledge system specifically within the Indian knowledge system. That means whole India. It not only classical languages like Tamil, Sanskrit, Persian, and the current recent additions to Malayalam, Kannada, and Telugu, Odia. Not only that, and tribal and indigenous languages and traditions will form the knowledge, part of knowledge. Then knowledge in higher education. Look at it. Very rightly promoting human as well as classic societal well-being and the development of India envisioned in the constitution. Okay, the policy mentions more than 4-5 times constitution. Then in higher education, it lays emphasis on democratic, just, socially conscious, cultured, and humane nation, affording liberty, equality, fraternity, just all those things which appear in the preamble of the constitution. So higher education should bring out democratic, socially conscious individual. What kind of knowledge could be inducted, given as input for creating such a mind? And sustainable livelihood, economic and knowledge economy, and the society. The entire society it envisages by 2030 onwards would be more of knowledge society than what it is in agrarian based or labor based society. Look at it. Higher education must enable, in addition to that, the individual development, personal accomplishment, enlightenment, constructive public engagement, and productive contribution to the society, many more things. And to enable people to be economically independent. That means they have their skills and they learn and lead their life. So as a result of which, we expect knowledge which would provide for developing holistic individuals with identified sets of skills and values. Higher education, done. Now, what is the vision of NEP? I have just called out from this: an education system rooted in Indian ethos contributes to transforming India, that is Bharat, sustainably into an equitable, vibrant knowledge society. So we are looking for a society, vibrant knowledge society in the modern sense, but rooted in the Indian ethos, that becomes an instrument to transform the country into a knowledge society. So what kind of knowledge is required to become a knowledge society? Then, as the Prime Minister or the government, everyone wants, making India a global knowledge superpower by 2035. Respects fundamental duties and values. Please note it talks about fundamental duties many a time, and something else it's not talking about. We will discuss it later, but it comes under constitutional values. Fundamental duties, the vision of NEP believes it is important to make children, learners in school and as well as university aware of the fundamental duties and constitutional values. Then NEP also proposes that education is to develop knowledge. Means knowledge is important and knowledge is created. Knowledge, skills, values, and disposition that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living global well-being, thereby reflecting a global citizen. So it's not just an Indian citizen, global citizen to live in the new world order. Come, look at it. I'm not going to talk much. Let's look at it. Here is the reflection of whatever I have summarized from the NEP document. Look at it now. Knowledge in NEP 2020. What are the components? Ancient, eternal Indian knowledge system, in which he talks about in terms of in terms of scientific, humanities knowledge, literature, scientific knowledge embedded in the languages like Sanskrit, Tamil, and almost all the many other languages, including indigenous tribal minority languages from a time immemorial or whatever the time. Then multidisciplinary knowledge, that is content will be now the content boundaries will be broken and it will be offered as multidisciplinary knowledge. So we all know that in higher education it's actually making a case for not having or continuing single stream universities colleges like engineering colleges, all institutions will become multidisciplinary. In order to achieve that, it begins from class grade 9 that multidisciplinary courses are offered. Then, in that case, how could a curriculum envisage knowledge? So, it will call for conceptual understanding, creative thinking, critical thinking, and as I already said, knowledge, wisdom, truth. Then look at it. There's a new thing it talks about, that is unity and integrity of all knowledge system. It's not simply putting together all the knowledge. There must be an integration, and integrity means integrity question comes into that. Suppose faculty distinctions, particularly in science and social sciences, that is physics, chemistry should remain intact, discrete as subjects. No, it's not that. So that it questions the very integrity of the idea of why we should need this, and so there must be unity and integrity of all knowledge. And then, of course, constitutional values. I have summed up whatever has been said. Now look at it. It goes for life skills, communication skill, cooperation, teamwork, resilience, uh, mm, unique capabilities, citizenship skills, values, global citizenship, citizen skills, and global values. It's put together twice. Integration of subjects. So look at it. Knowledge dimension of the NEPs, how it looks at the dimensions of knowledge. Okay, we love ancient Indian knowledge, multidisciplinary, conceptual understanding. That means here a kind of critical perspective. Then immediately it goes on to concentrate on life skill as well as citizenship skill, the higher order skill, whatever we call it. Now look at it. That's what I have about skills, knowledge. Now I will raise some questions later on knowledge part. Let's now move on to understand who is the learner. Then I'll put together some of the questions for you. Who is the learner? Okay. Who is the learner? It's not explicitly said the way dimensions of knowledge, the aims of knowledge and education, or the vision for the NEP 2020 are presented. Here, we have to infer and derive to understand who the learner is. First and foremost, an Indian rooted in Indian ethos. There's a mistake there. An Indian rooted in Indian ethos, and look at it. An Indian rooted in Indian ethos, then skilled and capable person, okay, socially responsible citizen and global citizen, innovative and resilient, 21st century worker and contributor, look at it, critical thinker and productive individual. Now, my question to you is, does the policy aim at making an one Indian child through the NEP 2020? Who is this can apply to someone in South India, someone in North India, someone in Jharkhand, Northeast, any place. So when it took a lot of pains to present different aspects and dimensions of knowledge, but it made it very clear that we want an Indian with critical thinker, innovator, resilient. I'm just provoking you. You may reserve your comments when we come to discuss. Now look at it. Who is the learner? An autonomous learner who inherits knowledge of India and adopts multidisciplinary knowledge to become skilled and thinking individual to be suitable for the 21st century. I leave it to you to read again. An autonomous learner. Learner autonomy is recognized. what kind of autonomous learner? Who inherits, I'm using the word, maybe trivializing it, who is who is imported with, inherits knowledge of India and adopts multidisciplinary knowledge to become thinker, skilled and thinking individual to be suitable for the 21st century skills. I mean, that means in the other sense, the NEP is not mentioning it. Nowadays, we call it 21st century skills. And as if skills end somewhere at the end of the century, and the new century, new kind of set of skills. But we understand why we are saying it, because time change, the things are different. If you look at history, if you look at the world, the way world is moving with some historical sense, it was the year 1918 or 1928, the swine flu, which swept away the world, and 5 crore people died. It was estimated. I don't know whether the year was right or wrong. The same thing happened after 100 years. But we have been able to manage to some extent, maximum extent, reducing death rate, and because of the communication and the ways actions like lockdown. So the world is not the same 100 what it was 100 years ago, but at the same time, basic human tenets live the way it was many years ago, even centuries ago, that we have seen during lockdown period, the fear of death and fear of disease. So an autonomous learner, diversified learner, who comes with the knowledge of India, who has the knowledge of India, and adopts the disciplinary knowledge, multidisciplinary knowledge, and with the skills and thinking individuals suitable for the century. So now we say, now why do we have to distinguish between knowledge and skill? We know that very well, not in the sense of Bloom's taxonomy in general. Let's say common man's thinking. In that case, a learner has to be. Now, my question to you, preempted question before I move on to another argument, is the learner not an individual from when he is root, that is in coming from different diversified backgrounds? Does the policy say that? Yes, it says, but not very explicitly. It says that learner is a learner kind of thing. Now look at it. So I am taking you back from that skills knowledge thing to learner. Who is the learner? Who has autonomy to learn many more things, and a diversified individual. Now look at it. What is knowledge in NAP? Our reflection, rather than my provocative reflection. Knowledge perspective. Preserved inherited knowledge to contemporary knowledge, to acquire knowledge and skills to transform oneself and the society. This is how the knowledge movement, knowledge churning in school education, NEP 2020 aims at making. The ancient Indian knowledge and yathas, that is conservation of knowledge, preservation of knowledge, then transmission of knowledge. That means the NEP 2020 wants the school system to act as preservator, means to keep it, preserving it and transforming to children, along with contemporary knowledge, that new addition acquisition, in order to create future knowledge. That's what this one, and how this transmission to transformation. People might accuse the NEP 2020 by saying that eternal Indian knowledge of India is preserving. It talks about preserving but not transforming, but it moves from preservation to acquisition, along with acquisition to transforming the society into a holistic society. Now let's go back a bit more. In that case, what kind of learner is required? Is it simply autonomous? I'll come back to that. Let's look at it. We have questions to ask, to ponder over, to reflect on. This policy raises a lot of questions about uh, fundamental duties. It mentions fundamental duties, and it's not talking about learning the fundamental rights or teaching the fundamental rights as knowledge of the Indian Constitution. And I take it for granted when it says constitutional values as overarching vision for education, that is creating a democratic liberal citizenry, is one major aim of education, because education is nation building and education is national development. We have not forgotten that the future of India is being shaped in your classroom. Not long ago, maybe more than 50 years ago, Kotari Commission said. In that case, what should be the overarching vision of the NEP 2020? So when it mentions the fundamental duties vehemently, why it's not talking about rights? I'm leaving to you. Then creating a liberal democratic citizenry for Indian democracy. Whatever knowledge being taught, learned, acquired, whatever skills we would like to impart to children through the curriculum processes, pedagogy and materials, are we not making them the citizens? It's talking more than that. That is global citizenship, human and ethical values, along with constitutional values. So my question is, what about my country needs democratic citizenry, contributing citizenry? It talks about it, but how I will understand that? Then the next pertinent question: breaking boundaries of content subject is not easy, though it's happening. Teachers, people in school education would better understand. We went in the year 2000 curriculum. In the 2000 curriculum, we went for integration of social sciences as well as sciences. We developed textbooks for science and technology. Whereas for in 2005, science, it's general science. Up to class 10 I'm talking about. And within the general science, though it's one book, the curriculum is in a way developed as integrated one. You will really find that knowledge subject boundaries, physics lessons to as one part, chemistry, something like that. This is in social sciences, it is still vibrant. That is geography, history, political science. That yeah, it is in those days it was known as civics in the at the upper primary level. That faculty boundaries are still there, and faculty boundary, it's very interesting to understand. Very interesting to understand that we, even at the primary level, where more than 3 or 4 5 languages, my friend Dr. Mahato will be dealing with. We want to have a language policy which looks at perceives languages as discrete elements in school education, whereas the teacher in a classroom uses more than 2 3 languages. How this could be achieved? That is my first question. My second question is, why not we keep faculty, that is subject boundaries, faculty perspective from higher secondary, secondary level to higher secondary, at least in higher secondary. Meaning, why can't we teach subjects, social science subjects, as separate entities from class 9 onwards, because up to class 8 integration is possible, breaking boundaries very much. And what is wrong in that, what harm it would do when somebody studies history as separate, social in social science, uh, political science and history, and geography, and on the other hand physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. So how this is going to help from two questions again, whether they are needed. Yes, they are needed. Whether they are achievable. Fine. Now, how do we bridge the gap between assumed knowledge dimensions? That always assumed knowledge dimensions. I understand this way: ancient Indian knowledge and ethos with contemporary knowledge, then future knowledge. Meaning, the future knowledge, I mean 21st century skills, competencies. Also, the contemporary knowledge is also, it makes a big list of from carpentry to coding, many things. And because it breaks the boundaries of vocational and non-vocational academic subjects. So that's what. And then look at the uh, what would I think of uh, as a school education as well as higher education, if boundaries are broken. For example, again, let me go to the language thing. It talks about language as an entity in order to learn the language. It talks about you can change any number of language and the number of languages, but you should study at least 2 years a particular language. And we all know that it's not sufficient to learn a language within 2 years, something like that. So how we can move about this? So this is how I would like to see the policy moving. So let me sum up saying that the knowledge dimension of the NEP is, we will draw from our ancient Indian knowledge of India with the existing modern knowledge or in a multidisciplinary perspective. Then we adopt the processes of which enable children to conceptual understanding, creative and critical thinking, and uh, in order to acquire knowledge, and from knowledge to wisdom to truth we'll move. This one, it takes us to Gandhi, Vivekanand, Tagore, and J. Krishnamurti, who looked at it. The ultimate aim of education is to learn and find the truth. Uh, then, then in between it, constitutional values cut across. Then skills. And I will not, or I don't understand uh, why and how life skills should be separated from education, general skills. You know that the Western ideas are coming in, so the life skills, okay, it's required. In addition to whatever you possess, you lack communication skills. You like how to work with people. So why can't education, in its original processes, as part of pedagogy, teach all this? Then why should we emphasize on life skills separately? This is question. Then how this will go? I'll stop it there. We may continue the discussion if any more uh, uh, questions. Then I will resume. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful lecture that you gave us about NEP in general and about knowledge, identity, and learner in NEP 2020 in particular. Thank you so much. I think it was a wonderful lecture and it will be very helpful for us as a students and as a would-be teachers also. So, any questions from the audience? If anybody wants to ask any question from sir, he or she can ask, or then we can move to our next resource person for the further proceedings of the function.
And I deliberately I have not touched upon language for the reason my friend Dr. Mahota will be speaking. One, the other one is there are much more complications in language policy, language aspect in the sense because it's the right time to address those, and the NEP is actually addressing it. For example, I would see it to provoke Dr. Mahato. Um, he Hindi is taking a back seat in the whole policy. I would say that after having faced some opposition from the state of Tamil Nadu. This one, please. Any other question? Please ask something. You should you have listened to me more than 40 minutes, so you should be asking something. So so if there is no question, let me make a suggestion to all of you. That is that is please read the policy, write in newspapers, write in journals, or at least even on your Facebook, so that let people understand, reflect on it. I deliberately made it a bit critical because it is also important at the school level to make children aware of rights first before teaching duties are equally important. I must know as a child what's my right, but there is a conspicuous absence of mentioning of rights. So child rights, we have a National Commission for Children's Rights, Child Rights. Then we have a commission for means Women's Commission. Then the Child Abuse, many more POSCO Act, many things, Right to Education Act. Why doesn't the policy mention it? This is my personal question. It's my personal view, not my institution's view. And also, it really makes a case, promise for universalizing education up to grade 12. Fine, well said. Then why doesn't it make a mention about the RTE? Because RTE has already been diluted. There are many more things, and the most welcome thing is the foundational literacy and numeracy, foundational stage. It would really reverberate the whole education system. Fine. Then bringing Anganwadis into school will really enable children without any problem smooth transition to grade 1. And looking at the new structure is also very beautiful, very interesting, very important at this juncture. So there are many things in higher education. It talks about internationalization, internationalization of knowledge, means the knowledge being looked at as one, not somebody's prerogative. Then creation of research institutions and many more things we can talk about. But how does it pursue knowledge matters? I have put forward my understanding, and in a way very critical understanding of it. And learner, the vibrancy of learners in a way is needed to be emphasized a bit more. And that's the, it's not just, so suppose you learn 5 languages, you learn foreign languages, you learn, but what about the language of a learner from Nagaland or Jharkhand whose mother tongue is minority tribal language? Then how many languages one needs to study? So that's fine. All right, I stop it there. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I should thank this man from Cape Cameroon, Kanyakumari, for making me, and also Dr. Mahata for giving me this, making me come here, and all those who have listened to me patiently for more than almost 45 minutes. Thank you very much. In case any queries, I'll just write my email ID. You may send. We can share ideas, and anything you want to offer to NCRT, you are most welcome at this juncture, because we are in the processes of making curriculum and syllabi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure listening to your lecture, and it was very informative. And I'm sure that all of us will be benefited in our future with this informative lecture. Thank you so much.